World Cup winners and, you know, record signings all over the place. It's Cole Palmer, who's come in from Manchester City as a young player who wasn't surplus to requirements, or his value wasn't recognised by City, but there just wasn't room for him in the City squad. And he's the one that is pivotal to everything that's happening.
Yeah, massively, and he's had such a core part to play in all of their big performances this season. And I think what Chelsea have lacked in the last few years up to this point is they were always building small little runs of form. They weren't across 10 games. It was like 2 or 3 games, then they'd have a blip. 2 or 3 games, they'd have a blip. Whereas to build this much form across a large period of the season is a real difference maker, because it feels like it's been years since we've seen that sort of Chelsea again. I think that's what feels different about this time. And hey, when Enzo and Maresca arrived in the summer, I think a lot of people thought that was an interesting decision, because he'd done a good job with Leicester. He'd obviously got them promoted, but a lot of Leicester fans were frustrated with watching his team, because they felt like it was a lot of possession, it was a lot of chances, they didn't have a finisher, they didn't have as much aggression. Now he's got his hands on an unbelievable, even better squad, and I think you're seeing how good a coach he is.
Cole Palmer, whoever it was who picked him out of City, because remember, he wasn't in the team, was it? It's just like they in and out the team. For them to envisage what he's doing now, to say we should get that Cole Palmer from City and, you know, under 23s, and it's genius almost, because you look at the calibre of player we're dealing with. He could easily play in Manchester City's team now. We can't say, oh yeah, but they had Phil Foden there to make a choice. Phil Foden's an amazing player. But at the moment, you're looking at form and what someone brings to a team. You know, for him to come to Chelsea at the time he did, with no real gains behind him, you know, I'm not talking, and take over a club that was going, where was it? It was going nowhere, really, Chelsea. It was in chaos, and just like, do what he's doing is unbelievable. Yeah, it really is.
So many players in through the doors, but there's now quite a few have gone out, and Maresca has his. So everybody said as soon as he came in, the first big job he has to do is get his squad of, say, 25 players.
I love the way he did it as well. He said, no, them over there, this is who I'm working with. And he was really brutal about that. And look where it's happened.
He brought a couple of players back, didn't he, in the early stages, because he had to with injuries and different things. But by and large, he's stuck with that squad, and it's really working for them. I suppose the question is whether they can sustain it. There's nothing to suggest that they're going to slip up, is there?
Only maybe the lack of experience.
I was going to say the age, but I mean, it's a very exciting, talented squad. They've got some really young players.
But they've got a lot of bouginess about it. They might just do it just because they don't business. You know, you get that vibe from Chelsea, right? When you see when they come off the bus in their gear and everything, you just get the vibe like, we don't care about how it normally goes. This is how it's going now.
I also think
they're disruptors.
How they progress in Europe and in those competitions, because there could be a moment, like Jen kind of was alluding to earlier, where actually it feels like, if the Premier League is that much further away, we're going to pivot to a nice European trophy, a nice cup competition. That feels like a natural progression for this squad, with Maresca to kind of lean into winning a few trophies.
Can you see them, like, just doing it? Because there's no pressure on it. There's pressure on Arsenal. You know, there's pressure on Arsenal because everybody's expecting us to do it now. And Mikel, 4 years, 5 years now? And they're challenging. But there's no pressure on Chelsea. They could just carry on doing what they're doing.
There might be now, though. There might be now, because this is the first time we've talked about them as title challengers, and we won't be not just because we're doing it, but we won't be the only people who are talking about Chelsea as title challengers now. So once that conversation gathers a bit of steam, and they've got Tottenham next week, haven't they? And then, which is always Tottenham are one of those teams that can do anything at any moment. So it just feels like there might just start to be a bit of momentum behind Chelsea.
Well, it's going to be interesting. It's interesting to see, Kels, because, like I say, there's not enough experience in their dressing room to care enough. They know what's at stake.
Other than the World Cup winner.
But I'm talking about for the Premier League, to win the Premier League.
And collectively as well, as a group.
We have to do this. They feel like they're having a lot of fun.
I think a lot of that energy as well is disruptor energy. I mean, think about Cucurella, who 2 years ago was a bit of a joke, and now he comes off a huge Euros and is one of the most informed fullbacks and is so reliable. I think his energy bringing to that and saying, we're actually going to be challengers, but we're going to sort of cause problems and be a bit of a joke along the way in a positive way. I think they've got that energy.
Absolutely.
Like a younger brother, sort of irritation.
Yes.
Exactly. And they could cause problems between now and the end of the season. Look, absolutely level on points with Arsenal on every single metric, and below them, only on alphabetical order, are Chelsea, and they have to be, if you've been saying that today, they have to be in the conversation.
Without a doubt, and you know, you're looking at the signings now, the stockpiling. It looks good now, especially when I looked at their bench the other day.
Well, they made 10 changes.
10 changes
to the game in midweek, which no other team can really do that. And so many times, I think,
and still play well.
Well, we've sat here that was meant to be a problem.
Exactly. I think with the narrative with Chelsea has always been too many players, you can't make it work. And now that's completely flipped, and you say, wow, such a big squad. Look at the talent they've got on and the options. And when you looked at what obviously Villa had to deal with coming off the back of midweek and the issues they're having in their form and a bit of a dip, I think the way that Chelsea can fit all those players and make those changes, players playing well, so many attacking options in and around the box, the way that Cole Palmer will have a shot from distance, but everyone will be following him to get the rebounds. As you'll know, Ian, like as a striker, people know they're going to be picking up, and Jackson knows he's going to be picking up scraps everywhere, even when he's not necessarily getting played in. I do think that Chelsea should be viewed in a completely different way now than even a few weeks ago.
I'll tell you what they've done the other day, which was really interesting, Flo, was they played Caicedo right back, and then he went inside and inverted, so then you can still have Lavia and Enzo. And, you know, so in the end, all three of them can come in there. I thought it was really, really good.
Nicholas just doing a great job.
He's doing a great job. And then Nicholas Jackson, like I always thought that he would come good with what he's doing and the way he's, again, that goal, what he scored was a striker in the box who's ready for any opportunity. And you've got wingers who are flying now. It's a massive problem Chelsea are going to be if they continue doing what they're doing, because Cole Palmer being the main protagonist in everything, he just can't be. He's just not flustered with anything. Can you imagine being in the dressing room with him?
He's just so laid back. He was asked, "Are you in a title race?" And he went, "No, mate, it's too early."
No, mate, too early, man. That's what he says. Too early, man.
That was it.
And you know what I mean? But like, Chelsea are not meant to be nowhere near it. You know what I mean? It's now they're like only on.
Exactly the same as Arsenal. Exactly the same.
So they should we should be putting them under pressure as well. They should be very much serious challenge too.
The other thing I would say about Chelsea is that they've improved as the season's gone on. They've certainly improved from last season, but it's the improvement as the season goes on, which seems to be a really good barometer for, you know, if that carries on in that way towards the end of the season.
Yeah, look, and I think as long as that improvement becomes fast, right? Even if you don't start a season well, but you can build quickly, and I think that's what we've seen with Chelsea. Okay, they didn't hit the ground running, but they got into it quickly. They found form. I think if you have a striker like Jackson on form, scoring goals, like the way he finished that first goal, really tricky, big deflection, tucked it away in the corner. And then you've got someone like Cole Palmer picking up. I mean, I don't think he'd had an assist or a goal in 3 games, and that's the narrative that people are now talking about him, that's a big thing, that he hadn't done that. But to then come into this game, assist and a goal, again, his finish, unbelievable. Have 2 players like that in an attacking form, and again, 10 changes. That is incredibly difficult to do, and you know, whether that comes from training or manager, both obviously, but to do that and still keep the performances and keep the connection, momentum going into the season, of course, we can't knock them off at all.
No.
All right, Chelsea beat Aston Villa 3-0 at Stamford Bridge. Well, another outstanding performance. Cole Palmer dropping another stunning finish to make it 8 goals this season. Nicholas Jackson also scored the opener to make it also 8 goals this season. So, good day in office for the Blues, who are currently tied second with Arsenal. They are level on points, level on goal difference, and level on everything. So Arsenal are second, Chelsea are second, but Arsenal are looking second in the table because of alphabetical order. But whichever way you look at it, Chelsea and Arsenal are currently second. But let's talk about the game. Chelsea came out, like smoking hot. Smoking hot. Marking Aston Villa all over the pitch, forcing them into mistakes after mistakes, mistake after mistake after mistake. Too many mistakes made by Aston Villa today. In all honesty, Chelsea could have scored more than 1 goal in the first half. more than 2 goals in the first half. They could have scored more, up to 4 or 5 goals after 90 minutes. That's how dominant they were. They dominated every facet of the pitch. They were there for every 50-50. I don't know how to say it, but they actually put Aston Villa to the sword. Technically, tactically, and physically. Aston Villa, they weren't there. They weren't winning balls. They were, every time they want to play out, one Chelsea player is in somebody's face, fighting for the ball, and it was happening all over the park. Like Rodgers was being followed by Colwill, who is a centre back, following Rodgers. Even when Rodgers wants to drop into the pivot to collect the ball, Colwill is following him there, and he's actually stopped him from playing, because Rodgers is their best player when it comes to driving forward with the ball, and once he turns, he has very good feet. He can delete 1 or 2 players and open up spaces, and Colwill stopped him. They were on man-marking duty, everybody on the pitch today except the goalkeeper, and everybody stuck to their task, and they were man-marking Aston Villa players. Even their build-up was, Aston Villa even made up to 4 or 5 errors in build-up today. You don't normally see that, but that's the amount of pressure that they were put under by these Chelsea lads. It was insane, and it was there for almost 19 minutes. But the intensity was a little bit lower in the second half. But at the end of the day, it was an intense physical game from Chelsea's angle. Those boys, those Chelsea players, they were ready for the game, and Aston Villa couldn't handle it. Their manager Unai Emery said after the game that during the start of the season, they thought that there were a few teams that upgraded, that were better, that will have a good season, and Chelsea were one of them. And in this game, he felt like Chelsea were more powerful, they were more, aggressive, they were better side, and that's it. You couldn't have said that last season. So that's the growth this team, have had in a short time from last season to this season under Maresca. You have to give Maresca a lot of credit, for what he has done with this Chelsea team. So far now, they have played 13 games in the league, lost only 2, drew only 4. That's amazing. And if you look at their fixtures right now, the remaining fixtures till January, they have very, very, very winnable fixtures. So they are not going to go away. And the way I see it, I think the league table, the 4 teams that will make the top 4 is just very obvious. Liverpool, Arsenal, Man City, Chelsea. Brighton can crash it if one of them mess up. But these 4, so far, so good. They have shown that they are out for business, and they are likely to be the top 4 at the end of the season. Top performance by Chelsea today. You have to say that.